This is one of the rigs I use on a regular basis. It's a rig I call the reverse Snowman rig. Essentially the difference between this and a normal Snowman is I have the pop-up closest to the hook and a nice food source bait away from the hook. This is a mainline hybrid bait, and the reason I prefer this rig to a sort of standard Snowman rig is because once it's lying on the deck you can actually see both baits from above. So as a fish is approaching it, on a normal Snowman rig, all you can see is the bright pop-up. You can't see the food source base below it. And because I do a lot of sort of campaign fishing, fishing the water for 9-10 months of a year, I spend a lot of the time establishing the bait in the water so the fish will pick it up, without thinking twice really. They'll just see it as a natural food source. So the last thing I want to do is hide the food source bait. So this is why I use this rig, so I can fish them both together, lying on the deck next to each other. And with both baits visible, it really gives the fish an option of what to pick up. So you've got the food source baits, which they should be picking up after a long baiting campaign. This is a trimmed down little barrel hard hooker. And then next to it I like to fish a little sighter. White's probably my favourite colour because it does stand out on the lake bed and it stands out against all the other baits, and it can look like a washed out bait as well. So with those two it really gives the fish a bit of an option of what to pick up, and with this rig pick up both at the same time. The dynamics of this rig works really well as well. Because you've got the buoy and pop up there, it makes the whole rig critically balanced. So once it actually hits the water and settles down, it will settle on top of any sort of debris and weed that might be there. It's also a difficult rig for the fish to get rid of because you've got two separate weight points. You've got the weight of the hook and you've got the weight of the bottom bait as well, with the pop-up in between. So if you can imagine that in a fish's mouth, it's almost like a difficult shape for the fish just to spit out. If you can imagine just a normal boilie close to the hook, it's almost just sort of one weight, and it's just a lot easier. But that, if you can imagine sitting in a fish's mouth, it's going to move around in the fish's mouth, and hopefully that hook will find a nice little hook hold, especially with that little bit of shrink tubing just there. It does tend to have that little claw effect, so it comes round and hooks in the bottom lip of the fish's mouth, and it is a fantastic hooking rig. So we always use a braid with this rig. In this instance it's a coated braid, it's the N-Trap Soft. It helps kick the rig away from the lead, and it also stops a lot of tangles. So if you fancy trying something a little bit different in your fishing, then give this a go. I guarantee it'll be different from the guy in the next swim, and hopefully it will catch you a lot of fish.